cells, which are about like an inch and a half wide, and we use conductive gas, uh, titanium dioxide, which is an ingredient that's found in white paint, raspberry juices dye, and then graphite and iodine. So what happened was photons from the sunlight went and it got absorbed by the dye, and then it shot off an electron, which traveled through the conductive gas and was able to produce power.
So starting from the left, we have a house that has meat hanging from it because that's what normal people do. And this is attracting wolves. And at the bottom, there's a house with carrots on it and it's attracting rabbits. And so these little people, they're coming out from the house and they're going out of the gate and going around and back to the entrance at the bottom over there. And then they move on to a hotel. And then from the hotel, they go to a realtor and then a bank and then back to the houses.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through the analogy. So first, starting from the monsters at the top, we think that the monsters represent the sunlight because, so first of all, they're very energetic. And then the houses and the meat, we think that the meat is actually the dye because theoretically, the dye should absorb the energy from the sunlight, and then you can see how the monster and the meat they're paired. And then we think the house is at the TiO2 because in the real solar cell, the TiO2 are attached to the dye, and then the TiO2 has the large surface area, and then we think the house is sort of demonstrated like the large surface area. And then we can see how the electrons, which are the people, they are excited because they're scared by the monsters, and then they are traveling, and then they're exiting the cell, and then through the electrode, and then going down there, and then you can see, and then it's you can see how the electrons is like doing work, maybe like working out, and then yeah.
And then afterwards, the electrons, they go back to the electrode, which is the guy pointing in the welcome sign. So that's like what's conducting, that's like what's pointing the way for electrons to go. And then the electrons enter the hotel, which we think is the battery or the power source where they get stored in there. Oh, wait, thank you. So yeah, the electrons would get stored in the hotel, and then they would exit out, go to the realtor, which is the iodine. So the iodine, so the dye on the meat, right? It's supposed to lose electrons, so something has to replenish the electrons to the dye to make sure that the cell can keep working. So the realtor gets people, probably gives people cheap deals, and so they want to go back to the houses. You see that for sale sign, yeah. So the realtor is what gets people going back. And then to the left of the realtor is the bank, where we have people borrowing money, which serves as a catalyst or something that speeds up the reaction, speeds up the electrons going back to the houses. And they do that through the money, which is they can just borrow the money so that it just makes the process easier so that they can go back to the house. And, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go quickly through the limitations of that analogy. So first of all, we can see like the electrons are coming out of the house, which is TiO2, but actually they're coming out of the dye. It's like the dye releases the electrons, so it's not precise.
Another thing we had was that the position of the hotel is a little confusing because in reality, the storage won't like always resupply the electrons back to the solar cell, so it doesn't really make that much sense.
Another limitation is that because it's a cyclical nature, there isn't really an obvious beginning to the cell.
Questions from our audience, please. I'm not looking that way at Dr. to Rita Blake, who has her hand raised. What does the house with the carrots represent? And why are they so happy?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Happy people don't put carrots on their houses.
So, I think why they're happy, you should ask the artist first. And then, I think that because there's a house with the carrots and the rabbit, so we think that actually that represents like the difference, like how the difference of voltage and current works. So you can see the rabbit is not as scary as the monsters, and then you'll see like, I think that represents maybe smaller voltage, and then you can see the carrots. It's like you got only maybe 3 to 4 carrots on the house, but you get like loads of meats there, and then we think that that represents like a smaller current because the carrots may be also the electrons, and then you can the smaller current means that you got less electrons passing by the maybe wire or circuit or anything. Yeah.
To add on to that, we were saying that the rabbit is like a smaller frequency of light than the monster, so it has less energy, which is why it's lower voltage.
Okay, so I want to just follow up on this. So you said that the monsters are scary, and so the people run out of the house, and so the people are electrons, and they're excited. So given that description, can you talk a little bit more about the carrot house?
Maybe they're allergic.
So, the carrots are like the dye for the lower frequency of light. The rabbit's the lower frequency of light. It carries less energy, which is why people are less scared of the rabbit than they are the dogs. So it would be like instead of the solar cell having red dye, it had a lower frequency. So,
But I think there's a way simpler thing, which is just in the solar cell. What's the first thing that happens?
light goes through.
Light is absorbed, and it creates what?
Voltage and current.
What-
It
so-
like excites electrons.
It creates excited electrons. And so the people running away from the wolves are excited electrons.
Yeah.
After those electrons go through and they do work, and then they go through the iodine shuttle, and then they come back. What state are those people or those electrons in?
You're not excited.
They're not excited. So what is the carrot house?
It might get people excited because it's the only safe house, maybe? Ground state.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just ground state people. Apparently carrots are so boring, they're just ground state people. Carrots are in the ground. Oh.
All right. Any last question? All right. Thank you, Group 2. Okay, and our artist. Hey, please state your name and if they catch on what it is that you want to do.
I'm Carter, and yeah, they basically said everything that I was trying to convey, and someone even talked the right so.
So are carrots supposed to be in the ground?
No. The carrots were supposed to represent, like, theoretically, if we used a different dye, it would attract a different kind of animal or a different kind of light. So in this case, it would be rabbits instead of the wolves.
Okay.